Welcome to Bogside Chats. We're talking everything DeFi Kingdoms, but keeping it casual. We're the first non-whale podcast. No Gen Zeros, no stable of 100 heroes. My name's C9N. Joined with me is Guy Kid and Franz. Gentlemen, how we doing?
Great. Excited to be here.
There's no chance I'm matching that energy, so I'm not even going to pretend to.
You gotta.
Good to be on with the pod, boys.
Good. Yeah, I just got over COVID, so I'm super pumped. I'm glad to be back in part of the land of the living here. Before we get started, today is July 1st. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, share this with everybody you know. Other than that, Franz, what do we got on the agenda?
Yeah, a few things to touch upon here. We're going to start off with the Harmony hack and everything that all the fallout from that. Talk about the AMA and the team's plans moving forward. We're going to touch upon duels and raffles, which are now live. Very exciting. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the market and general DFK strategy. Turn it over to DFK Fight Klub for a little discussion of that, and maybe do a summon or Fight Club match at the end. I don't know. We didn't really plan out that far into the episode.
Well, you committed. So, I mean, you have to summon now.
I was hoping Guy would, but we'll see.
We'll talk about that when we get there, but I don't think I have any summons ready to go.
All right, we'll just cut out that whole section. But anyway, so yeah, starting off on a somber note here. Just when everything's kind of leveling out and you think it's quiet, something else goes wrong. So Harmony did have its Horizon Bridge hacked. About a week and a half ago now, I think. But that led to, if anyone noticed, the price of Jewel skyrocket to like 92 cents in the past week and got really excited. I hope I wasn't alone there thinking that all my money was back. But no, what happened was the one USDC or any of the bridge tokens from Ethereum, they all lost their peg. So those were the funds that were hacked, that were stored in the Horizon Bridge. So anything with 1 in front of it, 1 ETH, 1 USDC, coins like that, don't have the backing that they once had any longer. So, yeah, before I ramble too much, it's none of us are blockchain experts here. It's obviously not good news for the Harmony blockchain, but I think more of a DFK spin on it and where that kind of leaves the game, right?
Where does it leave us? As the normal users, what other than being scared about Harmony, and I know they mentioned it in the AMA, but long term, what can we take from this? Maybe Guy, you can answer it.
It shows that what they were building out in the DeFi world of being on multiple exchanges, being on multiple networks, builds diversity for things like this to happen. I know a lot of us were upset because there's next to no utility in Crystalville right now, but that at least creates some kind of fallback plan and some type of ability for the team to be able to pivot based on this happening.
Yeah, and that seems to be what they're doing. Based on the AMA this past Monday, it looks like all their resources and all their attention now are being pivoted to standing up Crystal Vale with as much utility as possible, as quickly as possible. It's a little frustrating because it's like, why didn't we have some kind of utility there sooner? In the 4 months since it's been released, but that's neither here nor there at this point. The fact that they have that chain readily available makes this a lot less stressful of a time.
Yeah, and Sandwich Punch's article, he lays it out very clearly. Priority number 1 is to increase overall features on Crystal Vale. 99% of what we are doing in Sarandel, we are working to have solutions on Crystal Vale. The biggest of those is questing. It's been a focus for a long time. Basically, it's Frisky saying, "Hey, let's get your heroes over here and start building on our chain and planning for whatever may happen." So, hey, I'm okay with it if this is what had to happen to get us some utility on Crystal Vale. And
I think there's been a little bit of a dance back and forth too with, Harmony told them they were giving the DeFi Kingdom's team $1 million to continue to grow on the Harmony network. So I'm sure part of the reason Crystalville wasn't built out is they were probably building out a roadmap for that grant and making sure they were maximizing the chance of getting that grant. There's now close to a 0% chance of getting that grant, or confirmed 0% chance, I think. I think the team now has no hesitation going full blown, ready to go Crystalville.
Yeah, and that grant was actually pulled prior to the hack. They decided to make it more Harmony focused as far as giving grant money to teams that are building exclusively on Harmony. So I think that was out the window, but it happened in quick succession as far as that being announced and then the hack. So either way, it's that money wasn't going to be coming in. It really comes down to the amount of time that it takes to stand up Crystalville now, because one thing that they did mention during the AMA is that the bridging over of the tokens isn't ready yet, right? We have, or the item tokens, I should say. We can bridge tokens, we can bridge jewel, things like that. We can bridge heroes, which was quite the feat. But we can't get those items over there. So they did mention potentially a burn of items on Harmony and then airdropping them onto Crystalville. That probably would be the quickest fix. That seems like it. I mean, I say the quickest. A little scary. Yeah, I mean it seems like quite the undertaking.
Right.
The quickest, maybe not the easiest. Well, either way, DFK takes up 98% of transactions on Harmony. So we'll see if DFK moves over and basically says "F you." Does it kill it?
I mean, I don't know if we want. There are a lot of people, still working on Harmony, and I don't think we want to speculate on if it'll be able to survive without DFK. But there are a lot of other projects that are talking about a move as well, right?
Yeah.
I think Evoverse is talking about AVAX.
Yeah, Knights and Peasants has mentioned AVAX too, and they're exclusively Harmony right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Dreamer did mention other projects potentially going to DFK chain. He kind of threw that open invitation out there as far as if anyone's looking to move off of Harmony. The problem there is, I don't know if these projects if they're at the size where they're getting any grant money from Avalanche, but we know DFK doesn't have side funds available to kind of lure people over. It's really seems like it's the other way around as far as looking for grant money to move Sarandale to some other chain.
Well, I'm not very familiar with any other chains. I mean, this DFK is really my first foray into actually using the blockchain, but in your guys' opinion, what are some of the other chains that they could be jumping to?
You got anything?
I mean, you of course have Ethereum, but I don't think it makes sense based on the number of transactions that DFK needs to play the game. I know very little
too.
Yeah, true. And I guess that kind of comes back to something else we've been talking about of what needs to happen actually on chain. It'd be an L2, but then it's all right. They create some kind of game engine or something and just hold the NFTs on a separate chain, which would be a completely different concept.
But just to stay on this really quick, what would prevent them from jumping over to say like Polygon or some of these other DeFi games that are using other networks?
So I was talking about Ethereum. I mean, you got Polygon, you got Matic, right? Mm-hmm. Solana's another one. I know very little about these chains. Brands like I think Matic's kind of similar to Harmony, no?
Yes.
The problem is you're not finding any of these chains with quite as low of transaction fee as Harmony. So, going back to the idea of how much needs to be on chain, I don't know how easy it would be to replicate every transaction being on chain unless you go to another subnet, or you mentioned ETH. The 1L2 that I think would be a good fit is IMX. They're rolling out their own version of subnets. They're calling layer 3, with them being a layer 2 hub kind of in place of what AVAX is for subnets. That's central hub for them. But they're focused mostly on gaming and different glorying in game studios. They're actually AVAX for subnets and IMX are both competing for Bored Apes right now with Yugo Labs to see where they're going to move their potential game that they're doing with the Bored Ape NFTs. So, we'll see who gets that. But that's why that was kind of on top of my mind as far as a destination.
Makes sense.
I gonna be honest with you, France. I probably understood about 20% of what you just said. So I mean, appreciate it.
Subnets, but not from AVAX. Same kind of idea.
DFK chain. What the DFK chain is to AVAX, but that on the Ethereum network.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Pretty much.
Just be scared about burning $15 every time I have to do anything.
Exactly.
No, and that's ETH L1. Being directly on there, that's a non-starter for any game really. But it'll be interesting to see where it goes and how quickly something like this can happen. They were talking a lot about funding, so whether it be a partnership with a VC, whether it be they said they were talking to a few game studios, like legit game studios, or whether it's grant money to just move Sarandale to a different chain, or if Harmony finds a way to see this through and finds a way through this. I know it's not looking great right now, but we'll see. Things change very quickly in crypto, so we'll see what tomorrow holds.
It's not like things are looking great anywhere else, so I mean,
yeah, very true. So to go from the speculation on what's next to kind of what we have right now, duels and raffles. Raffles are live. Duels have been live. We talked about duels a little bit on our last pod, and we mentioned that they weren't too exciting to us because of the idea of we didn't, know what the prizes were. Now that you guys see the prizes, change your opinion on duels at all?
Myself, no. I'm not good at duels. My heroes aren't good enough to win. I don't have. I can't do war as well, so it's not like I can rack up a bunch of tickets at one time and kind of put them somewhere and win. So for me, it's
you sitting at?
Deal. I have 5 heroes.
5? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah. So for me, it doesn't change that much. Although, Guy, you might have a different opinion.
It's 6 hours left on this large egg bundle of 20 eggs. I've thrown about 40 jewel into duels right now.
Total?
Yeah, in total.
Okay, so not a lot.
And I have about 3,300 tickets. So based on that math, 40 jewel. Obviously, we have 6 hours to go. So there's a chance this goes from 35,000 tickets to 200,000 tickets. But right now, that's a 10% chance of winning 20 eggs for 40 jewel. That's pretty good.
Dang.
Yeah. Yeah, and just to go over a little bit of how the raffle system works, I think I've actually turned around on duels. I had no interest in them last time we recorded. I had done 2 of them. I still don't find them super entertaining. I don't really watch them. Here and there I will. But as far as accumulating those raffle tickets, I've been having some good luck with it so far. The way that it works, the way that it works, you can put the most tickets in right when the auction starts, and every second that ticks off, the max amount that you can enter in goes down. So the most I've been able to put into, I've been doing most of the mini raffles. The most that you can put in, if you catch it right near the beginning, is around, I've gotten as much as 280 raffle tickets in. And that's getting me a chance of, when they close, of between 20 and 35% on average, chance to win. So what I've been doing, one war with a 10 jewel buy-in gets you 1,600 raffles. That's enough for me to put that 280 into all 4 of the minis and have a 30% chance at each of them. Mm-hmm. I've been accumulating crystals. So,
so you've been mentioning that maybe timing has a factor in that. Do you think timing has a factor in that?
Yeah, definitely. You can wait around till the end and kind of see, kind of what Guy seems to be looking at of like, hey, if I put in now, it's near the end. Maybe there won't be too many more raffle tickets coming in there.
And just so you know, I saw 6 hours and there's 6 days left in this 20 egg raffle.
Okay.
So throw that out the window.
Little different.
But
and neither of us noticed that.
No, no way.
That just shows the attentiveness of this podcast. Yeah. Oh, that's gold eggs are on there. That's the first time I've seen them as a reward. I don't know, the large prize of the crystals, the greater crystals, is fantastic. It's 4 of each of the greater crystals for leveling. 4 of each stat. Those things are fantastic. I think it gives you 50% on the secondary. On the primary, I think it's like 20%. I'm not quite sure on that because I've never used one because they're very hard to find. But yeah, I saw someone on Twitter won one of them from the first batch that were released, and that's, I mean.
Can you find greater crystals from the training quests or just the lesser crystals?
No, just lesser.
Okay, so the only way we can get them right now is through the raffle system.
Yeah, they were part of the Gen 0 reroll as well.
Mm-hmm.
You can get greater crystals.
Weren't they super rare, but also part of PJ as well?
Yeah, well, so that was what I was going to say. Were they part of PJ, or was it just the normal ones?
I think they were for like Elite.
Okay.
Elite Plus.
Okay. At the time, knowing what we know now about heroes and the amount of heroes and the price of heroes, I would have sent so many more heroes on PJ. But
seriously.
Yeah.
Well, so she goes.
Are there any? Let me ask you this, Franz. Are there any pitfalls to raffle that you've seen? Be any botting issues, anything like that?
Yeah. So that nice little segue there. Definitely not planned. We were talking about this right before, and I don't know if this has been mentioned on the Rapid R, or if anyone else is on top of it, or if maybe there is a fix for it we're not aware of. But one kind of hole to all this that I see is if you can put a max of 280 into the mini raffles, for example, just the mini, using that here. What's stopping me from having my 9 heroes for war, doing a few duels, getting, say 10,000 raffles, then trading all of those heroes over to another account and doing a bunch of duels over there and accumulating raffles over there. Then instead of having a max of 280 that I can put into a single raffle, now I can put, 460. Is that 280 times 2? 560. 560. Now I can put 560 in. Now instead of that 30% chance, I have a 60% chance, or maybe a little bit lower because it's higher total numbers now. But that's one kind of pitfall I see.
Mm-hmm.
Again, not sure if anyone's addressing that. I don't think I'm the first one to think of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably crossed someone else's mind. Yeah. But yeah, there are going to be kinks like that need to be worked out.
All about working out kinks. So, speaking of Rapid R, and by the way, just for listeners, it's dfk.rapidr.io. There's a couple pieces in here that I really, really like, and I wanted to point out one. And this is
Before you do, you want to talk about the site? What is this? Why don't you tell the listeners?
It basically looks like a forum for feedback and general ideas. I mean, there's a couple of topics here. You got vote proposals, general feedback, feature requests, so on and so forth. And it's a way for the community to be able to share ideas here with the DFK team. Does that sum it up? Anybody got anything else to add?
Yeah, no. So if you're not on there yet, if you have complaints about the way DFK is run, and you think your voice
or just
get on there.
Things you think could improve the overall ecosystem and gameplay.
Definitely. Get on there, get involved. It's very easy to sit on Twitter and on Discord and kind of lament the way that things are happening. Get involved and have your voice heard.
They've said numerous times in AMAs and in general speeches as well that they want to be more vocal, not less vocal during the bear run and the crypto winter, if you will, which I think is very admirable admiral of this admiral.
Admirable.
Admirable.
Admirable. Sure. Words, verbiage. I need another seltzer. Very admirable of the team. That I mean, they're opening doors. They want to continue to improve. They want to. They really care what the community thinks, and this game doesn't exist without the community. So, Rapidar is a great step forward of letting player voices, letting community voices be heard.
Yeah. So going back to C9N, you picked one out in particular you wanted to discuss?
Yeah, and Guy, you touched on this a little bit early, too early in my opinion. But there's within general ideas, the topic is reduce focus on on-chain features. And I'm not the person to probably touch on this a little bit more. Maybe Guy, you can expand on what does that mean, and do you agree with it?
So honestly, it's what it boils down to is we're all in crypto for the decentralization aspect of it. Like, we like that there's no one entity that controls who has control of my assets. But there comes a point where crypto is a new technology. You can only do so much on the blockchain. And there's so many gameplay mechanics that are super limited because DFK is a 100% on-chain game.
Mm-hmm.
So are we comfortable as a community having certain things on-chain and certain things off-chain? It could be compared to Axie Infinity, where the NFTs are on the blockchain, but the gameplay actually is in a centralized game browser that you can take your NFTs and go play with your NFTs in someone's game browser and game engine. Fight Klub, everyone on this call enjoys Fight Klub, the gameplay aspect of it. All they're doing is they're verifying your wallet against the assets that are on chain. But DFK Fight Klub, the game, is not on chain anywhere. So if you take some of the gameplay, you take some of the aspects of the game off chain, you can utilize some better technology that's out there, and it gives you more opportunity and more ways to enhance gameplay and enhance player interaction and experience.
Mm-hmm. And so just to sum it up, a dummy like me maybe can sum it up. You can build better when you're not building on the blockchain. You're just mirroring the wallet on the blockchain and using conventional developing tools. Does that make sense?
Makes everything a little bit easier. And if the goal right now is speed and getting things rolled out that are going to generate real interest in the community and bring new users in, maybe it's something that has merit. They can always, I don't know if this was part of the post or if one of you said it, but they could always go back and kind of build that on-chain world that they want on the back end, right? Roll something out and kind of backhaul it onto the blockchain later.
Makes sense to me. Now,
even I liked utilizing mini games for that reason too. Even if you don't want to call it full-blown gameplay, call it a mini game, call it what you want, but give players utility for their heroes and their assets.
Yeah. And then, on kind of the same kind of wavelength of how do we get this product to a place where it's interesting, it's fun, and the assets have value, right? Two topics that one is talked about on the Rapidar. Sandwich Punch has a post about it, kind of expanding on what the team said during the AMA about what to do with Lock Jewel. We'll link that one too. There are a lot of good ideas there as far as ways that we can make it so that Lock Jewel has utility and gets either relocked or burnt altogether and used for different game features, whether it be different pieces of equipment, whether it be refilling summons, going to areas of the map that are otherwise closed off, what have you. Ways to really entice the whales of the game and the larger wallets to not dump that Lock Jewel. So I think that's a really important topic. And then also the idea of dark summoning, which was brought up during the AMA. And this is one I was hoping that we can dive into a little bit more about how we think this would work, right? So the idea of dark summoning would be essentially sacrificing a hero or multiple heroes to summon a new one.
So you're
same way pets are right now.
So okay, so it's like I got 3 common monks and I'm kind of pissed off about it. I can burn them and hopefully either get nothing or maybe I'll get a ninja like I was trying to get. Something like that.
And that's, I mean, I think they haven't gone that far into it about the actual mechanics. How do you think that should work? You know, like, does level come into play of what I'm burning? Does the amount of summons remaining come into play? Does that give me some kind of boost? Is this the idea where the better rarity that I'm summoning, or maybe, you know, if I'm burning more rare heroes, does it increase my rarity chances on that dark summon?
It's interesting.
What do you think?
So pets is really simple in the sense of you take 2 pets and you get an egg out of it. Right. That's like very watered down. But the thing with pets is pets don't have stats yet. Pets don't have all this other utility that heroes have. I think in order for dark summoning to work, it needs to be a calculation somewhere along the same lines of everything that went into Perilous Journey success rate.
Yes.
You take all of the stats that went into those calculations of PJ survival, and you come up with some kind of very similar formula of what the result of your dark summoning would be.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so, do you think that dark summon is going to be the ultimate goal is to get like a higher rarity and higher class, or do you think there's a possibility it's like you could basically burn your heroes and get something pretty crappy as well? I mean, what's the end goal?
Also, I would be curious. I think there's 2 things that could happen. Is one, dark summoning could not even summon a hero, but maybe it refills the summoning bar, just like what Sandwich is talking about for Lock Jewel. Like, that could be interesting, and based on what you're burning, could spit back 1 summon for your hero or 6 summons for your hero. Maybe you can have some kind of calculation like that.
Is that so? That's cool, but is that a little counterproductive if the goal here is to make less heroes?
That's true.
I mean, it's interesting.
The general calculation would have to be you'd have to burn more heroes more than what you're getting back in summoning.
Right.
That would have to be the formula.
And I think like the one thing that wasn't weighted on PJ is the amount of summons that a hero has left. I think that would be something that they'd need to put an emphasis on for dark summoning, because that's accomplishing that goal. Like if I'm burning a 10 of 10, that's at least 5, but theoretically 10 additional heroes or additional summons that aren't being used, right?
So what if it's not dark summoning, but enhancing current heroes? Of you're sacrificing heroes to level up an existing hero, or a chance of increasing the rarity of an existing hero.
Ooh, increasing rarity of an existing hero. I like it.
I'm
just do it to a lot of my heroes, but
right.
Yeah, that one's a little tough, because then
you're talking about changing an NFT, which
they've done with the Gen 0 rerolls, so we can do it.
That's true.
It's also it would probably drive in so much interest, especially with. Let me ask you this, guy.
It would accomplish what they're trying to do, right?
Well, you've got a couple common sages and dragoons, right?
Right.
How much would you give to bump that up to uncommon or rare?
Oh, seriously, yeah. I've got 7 monks that would go to the slaughterhouse immediately.
So you would burn 7 heroes just to bump at a chance to bump it up to an uncommon.
And that's a chance to. I don't know about that.
Right. I would need that. I mean, I want that chance to be pretty high, but I think it would need to be pretty low, as far as, because you don't want to start watering down the mythic and the legendary pools more than they're already watered down. I mean, legendary, this is something that we want to touch on in a bit, but legendary heroes not very expensive as is.
Let's touch on it now.
Yeah.
What are they worth?
I mean, we could have talked a little bit more about the.
I thought we had a
dark
good
summoning.
topic going, but you know
we're
what?
kind of rolling there.
When C9's ready to pivot, we pivot.
Yeah. It's
No,
all about
so
the
that
segues.
we can pivot. We can pivot. It's something that I was mentioning to C9M before we started recording tonight. What's 300 Joule? How much is that in US dollar? Top of your head?
I want to say $100, but it's nowhere close to it.
Not even close.
Nowhere
You
close.
haven't checked the Joule chart in a few days, there, bud. You might want to take a look.
I've tried.
It's
not to.
It's $40, $38.50 about, right? So 300
Disgusting.
Joule is also well above the floor for legendary, I think.
Hey,
Or is
you
it
get your
about
pick.
the floor?
So I just filtered it even to 10 of 10 legendaries.
Okay.
So 315 is the floor for 10 of 10 legendaries, which is pretty crazy.
So yeah, and the reason that the number 300 was on my mind, I picked up a monk the other day, a legendary monk with 2 advanced abilities, and it cost me 300 Joule. So I guess where I was going with it and where my thought process was taking me was, if you're someone that's playing this game and you think you're bullish on it, you think that it's going to be around, and you want to be a part of this PvP, assuming, when it is rolled out, it's kind of a perfect, not financial advice, it's kind of a perfect time to kind of get, write it right there on the screen, not financial advice. It's kind of the perfect time to get one of those top tier heroes. $40 to get you something that's going to be competitive in the long run with the top tier, right?
Yeah. I mean, I remember back in January getting into it, I was like super pumped to just get like a crappy common floor hero for.
You're happy to just have a hero, period.
Right.
Yeah, right. And how much were we spending at that point? It was like $20 in Joule. Oh
we were telling people it was $1,000 to buy a 3-hero team.
Oh my gosh.
Right. Yeah.
And now for your birthday, when your grandma gives you $40 or $50 to go get a bite to eat, just stay in and buy a legendary hero.
Is that what your birthday's like? Over at the C9N household?
Listen.
Crisp 50 from Granny to go get lunch? I like it.
Yeah, they're actually called Grampy dollars, but yeah.
Okay. All right. I like it. No, but you go back to the idea of, we were just buying some commons, maybe an uncommon, and it was cost prohibitive, so that's what we got. I feel like that mindset kind of permeates through and sticks around to the point where you start you're thinking like, oh, well, legendary, I'm not even going to look at legendaries because that's out of my price range. It's really not anymore. So, I've started picking up some legendaries. I've picked up a few mythics, and those are heroes that are going to be competitive, assuming I don't get rugged on every single level up. But,
Well, we've got 100 of them, right? So if it makes it to 100, you're going to want the higher rarity. I mean, I to your point, the pivot from maybe selling some of your common heroes and consolidating down, or even just putting in a few bucks and buying some higher rarity stuff, it's the call right now. It's absolutely the call. It's affordable.
Yeah, especially when having a lot of heroes is getting a little bit, it's getting a little daunting to be questing all of them. So that's something I've been, I've been selling a bunch of the ones that are just middling heroes and trying to get that higher quality.
Are there any heroes you bought recently that you really like?
Yes. And I wanted to talk about its subclass, the hero that I bought.
What is it?
I bought a Mythic Ninja.
You got the ID?
The ID is around here somewhere.
Please hold.
Get some hold music. 241524. And I want to just warn everyone, it's pretty damn sexy. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, not safe for work.
Hold on.
What is this?
What is this tail?
The tail? You haven't seen
I
that
thought
before?
Franz was the anti-tail person.
No, it's the monkey tail that I don't like. That tail's fine.
Okay. All right, cool.
And look at that purple hair. The purple hair with the mythic purple
really
card background. I mean, he's got cool horns.
He's a winner ninja. He's fully dressed.
Yeah, he's Crypto
And
Windsor in the background.
He's got long hair.
He's got a summon left that hopefully I could sell off to somebody. Who knows? Recoup a little bit of the funds. It is a gardener, so it's going to be hard to level up in the beginning. I need to get it to the point of training quests for one stat. So I'm hoping agility.
What does training quest threshold mean to you? Is that 20 or is it something higher?
For me, it's 20. And it's not great at 20, but it's not. I think you can average above 100. And to me, that's worth it, especially if it's a gardener.
Mm-hmm. So what's so awesome about that ninja?
Well, the aesthetics. No, it does have an advanced ability, so that's something we've talked about a lot on this pod. I'm not buying any high-priced heroes without an advanced. Maybe they end up being nothing, but if they end up being something, I don't want to invest in what I deem to be a PvP hero and then find out later, like, oh, it's not as perfect as I thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I wanted to get your opinion on is the subclass. It's a knight subclass. So, stat-wise, right, I'm having higher chances on strength, vitality, and endurance. Things that aren't super important to a ninja. Strength is 50-50, vitality is 50-50, 40% for endurance. I'm not as worried about the stats because I like just having a little bit beefier of a hero in that regard. What I'm worried about is the eventual skill trees. And if I'm going to have a ninja that is not having kind of a full dearth of different possible actions, right? Because it's going to be very melee, from the subclass at least, very melee-based and taunty.
Yeah. So maybe there's an evasion move. Maybe there's some kind of flash heal that could be interesting. If you've got an all damage team. So traditional PvP, 3-man teams, you've got your tank, you've got your DPS, you've got your healer. Where 3v3 combinations get really interesting is you have concentrations of, you have like a super tanky team where maybe you have a tank and then you have 2 other heroes that are also high health. Or you've got a blitz team that you've got 3 heroes that are all max damage. But you can have a 3-hero all max damage team that every single one of them has some type of survival aspect built into them as well. Okay. So maybe a ninja with a knight subclass has a flash heal, and then you have a monk with a thief subclass that's got an evasion of like go invisible move to kind of like pull aggro off of themselves. And maybe you have a wizard that's able to, I can keep giving WoW references, a wizard that's
just
able
keep doing
to
it. This is great.
Yeah, a wizard that's able to cast some kind of spell on himself that can basically put up a temporary magical shield around him or something like that.
Uh-huh.
I love the knight sub, and even if the skill trees come into play and it's not something that you love, I mean, just having that extra, you know, maybe it's like a shield for the team or something like that. Like having something just to beef that ninja up a little bit is awesome to me. I mean, is there a particular subclass that you would rather have?
Yes, definitely. 2. Thief subclass, I think, is the obvious one because stat-wise,
I think there's one that's more obvious, which is ninja.
Well, okay, that would be good.
I do agree with you that thief is right up there too, though. Go ahead.
Yeah, because you got the confluence stat-wise, and you have that kind of assassin. You know, I picture ninjas and thieves as kind of that assassin build. So I think there's a lot of confluence there. Pirate was the other one that I like because of the dex. Because it gives it a little strength boost. It gives it a little bit of girthiness, and it gives it the dex. Archer I struggle with because you have the dex. It's the highest dex in the game. But I just feel like with the again, that brings me back to the skill tree. It's, do I want ranged kind of skills that an archer might have? Is that going to help me? Right? So that kind of gets into what I was thinking with the knight. Might not be bad, but it might not be great either.
But what if the archer subclass is like a precision aim that your damage just do 3 times damage or something? Something like that would be great.
Yeah, like more. That sounds more like a crit, almost.
Exactly.
Yeah, it throws shurikens instead of shooting arrows. I mean,
Yep.
There's some
there's ninja stars.
Yeah, right. There's definitely some cool stuff in here. I don't know if I like. I mean, I kind of like the thief sub to boost that agi a little bit, but because of DFK Fight Klub, I've been so high on HP and tankiness. Like I've just been way too high on that stuff. So for me, a knight or a warrior, a paladin, that A-okay in my book. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, and I said that for a while with knight subs. I think I might have said like 10 episodes ago now, but that I thought a knight sub was the best in the game because it gives a little girth to any of your heroes. But I think that was shot down by Guy pretty quick with his min-maxing. So
yeah, I'm all about the min-max.
I change my strategy almost daily. It's very easy to do when there's no game out. Yeah.
Oh, go.
No, I was going to say you mentioned Fight Klub. That's definitely permeating into how I view heroes as well.
Oh, that has to.
Yeah, like subclass and the idea of having a move of the subclass. All of a sudden, monk subclasses on my frontline guys I love because now I have meditate. Could get that charge bar filled up.
Well, I'm still high on the monk primary because that key blast is just scary. It's just nothing's worse than when you're fighting somebody and you're kicking their butt and all of a sudden you get a 300 damage thrown at you and it kills your guy and you're like, oh, cool. Yeah, appreciate it. That was awesome. So monks all the way. They've been consistent since day one.
It is one of the 3 classes, 3 or 4 maybe, that has that kind of like power shot, right? That can really change a game. You have the key blast, Kai blast, whatever it is for the monk, the wizard with the meteor, 100 damage to each, and then the paladin with
Retribution.
Retribution, thank you.
I got you.
Which does a lot of damage there too.
Yeah, it's actually being able to use our heroes. Some utility has been eye-opening and has totally pivoted what we've got going on and how we're seeing and viewing heroes.
Yeah, and if anyone hasn't played Fight Klub yet, get in there, give it a shot. We'll link their Discord in the show notes. Something that we were talking about a little bit was the possibility of getting a tournament together. So you're gonna see a Bogside Fight Klub collab tournament coming up in the near future. We'll probably use Community Gaming IO to get a bracket going. Maybe a small buy-in so that we can get a little bit of a prize pool, and who knows, maybe we'll throw a little added prize on top to really spice things up. But
that Mythic Ninja, maybe?
Yeah, maybe the summon from it.
We're gonna sacrifice C9 to one pet that he has.
Oh no, I sold that thing so long ago. It was a common crab, and every time I looked at it, I just got irrationally angry. So still, I got 2 yellow eggs, but I'm still trying to find a blue or a gray to be able to hatch something. So I'm petless. I've got eggs. Do we?
Is that what we're doing now?
I guess.
Sure.
All right.
Why not? I like pets. Pets are cool. I actually got a blue egg today. That was cool.
Oh, there you go. You got a yellow the other day, didn't you?
I did. I went like 4 weeks with no eggs, and then I've gotten 2 in the last 48 hours or so.
Boo-hoo.
Yeah.
4 weeks. Oh my gosh. Poor baby.
Poor me. Poor me. Life is so hard.
Unbelievable. Yeah, but having no utility for the yellow eggs right now is it's also kind of pissing me off a little bit. But we don't have to go down the negative route. I think we did enough in the beginning. we can pivot a little bit. What's your best pet, Guy?
I've got I think it's a stat. No, it's the Leafra. My Fairling Leafra, rare Leafra that's got a 2-star combat. And then, but my favorite pet, I think I had tweeted out about it, of I had. Oh, what was that freaky thing that I could not stand? C9N.
Yeah, the thing with the tits.
The thing with the pouncing tits.
Yeah.
I forget what that's called.
Whoa.
It.
It's a PG podcast.
France, we'll find one for you, and
Yeah,
we
what
can
is
get
this?
your opinion on it.
It's the blob thing?
No, it's not the
There it is,
blob.
right there. It's a Tagua on the left.
The Togwa kid.
Look at that thing.
Look at this thing.
Oh, wow. Those are... Yeah.
They're bouncing tits. Yeah, exactly.
When you guys said that, I kind of didn't expect for it to be so on the nose. But that was a fair description.
But I couldn't stand staring at this thing, so I sold it. And then I immediately took those profits and I bought a wolf pup.
Nice. That's a good
So
we're
even
not
though my
worried
wolf
about the
pup
one
is
star.
yeah,
It's
we're not worried about the 1 star. It's just a cool pet.
Yeah.
We're all
You know
about the aesthetics on this podcast. Between my ninja, your wolf pup.
Not having a Tagua. You know who's had some awesome luck with hatching pets is Maddie. I mean,
Yeah.
he's done some work. I can't remember off the top of my head. He's got what did he
He's
hatch?
got a Leviathan, doesn't he?
He's got a couple legendaries, and he only hatched 5 to 10 pets, and he nailed them. I mean, absolutely crushed a few. So a little bit jealous there. Franz, you got any good pets?
No, and I really don't care about them yet. To be quite honest, I know a time will come where I will care about them. I hope it's soon. These level 10 profession quests, when they do come, I'm gonna love to dive into pets then. But right now, they're just not doing much for me. I'm collecting them. I'm not buying any. Just kind of hatching as I go.
Do we have any timeline on those level 10 profession quests?
So it got pushed back. It's not a priority right now because standing up quests on Crystal Vale is the priority. But I don't think it's going to be too far after. It sounded like they were getting pretty close before everything went to shit with Harmony.
Yeah, it's not like the work they did beforehand goes away. So it's
Right.
You know, say it's 95% complete. They're still sitting at that 95%, and they just gotta push it over the finish line. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm looking at the agenda here. I think that we touched on most of what we wanted to, and I see a hero match up on Guy's screen. So, Guy, are we summoning? Is that an elite skill we're going for?
It's an elite skill, but I have an 8 of 10, and this is a 6 of 10. I don't think I can do it. So you guys have seen, I've been looking, I've been trying to find a pair. I have a Gen 1 that is 8 out of 10 now that I've been holding on to for a very long time. I think I've had this guy for 6 weeks now. And he's a Gen 1 that I hit 2 advanced on.
Oh, it's
Nice.
great.
That's really
So
good.
this was
It's 10 of 10?
he was 10 out of 10. So this was
How'd you do that?
you guys remember Mickey. So Mickey would own Gen Zeros, and he would basically give you the option to rent his Gen Zero summons. So I basically borrowed his Gen Zeros to do a summon, and I paid him 20 jewel for each of his Gen Zeros. So it basically cost me 100 jewel for my own Gen 1 that I could customize how I wanted, which is a neat concept. But so this Gen 1 that I summoned got 2 advanced abilities. So I've been scouring the market looking for a monk that has 2 advanced matches. And there was one monk that had 2 matches that was available for rental. So that's where I used one of my summons. And then I found another monk that had 1 match.
Did
I
any
not
elites
get
hit? No.
No elites hit. I did get a monk with 2 advanced abilities. So it's like a small victory.
Yeah.
But
even the carry, the worst is when you have a chance for them to carry over, and it's a 40% chance on like 3 different abilities, and you just get all basic across the board.
Yeah,
right.
When I really want to just shut my computer and stop playing.
Any other heroes you're looking to buy, Guy? Anything on top of mind?
Honestly, I honestly think it's a seller's market right now. I was hero heavy. I'm still a little hero heavy. I've got 42 heroes, which is more than I think I need based on how big of a stake I want it to be into the hero game. So I've been slowly selling my heroes the last couple of weeks at price points that I think are premiums. So it's like selling a level 8 hero, a common and basic hero for 150 jewels seems like a win for me. And I still am trying to take this mindset of, unless I put more money into the game, which I still haven't over the last couple months, I want to have more jewel today than I had yesterday. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying very hard, and it's difficult to do, of like not go for the big swings that have a low success chance and just like cripple my jewel holdings. I'm still trying to just accumulate. And it's tough right now because jewel is so cheap. So the cost of everything is going way, way up. Like Gen Zeros, the Gen Zero floor is now 13,000 jewel, which sounds like a ton, but in US dollars it's not. But like 13,000 jewel would just be pretty much my entire stake in the game at this point. So it's like a Gen Zero is out of the question unless I'm going to put more money into the game. And then Gen 1s, the floor for Gen 1s is now 115 jewel. So that's been creeping up as well.
I've kind of taken the different outlook. I've been looking at Gen Zeros, and I think that's what Connor's comment was trying to prod a little bit.
One every pod. It's always one every pod.
Who said what?
Yeah,
it's all right.
There was talk. There was talk about
and so
Gen Zero hunting.
So just to reframe what I'm talking about, I don't want to decrease the amount of jewel that I own in the game. So I don't want to take all my jewel and buy a Gen Zero. If I were to buy Gen Zero, it would be with new US dollars I pump into the game, so that I can continue to accrue jewel. And I'm okay throwing a couple bucks into the game, but I don't think we're at the floor yet. And I don't want to try to time the bottom, but like, we've got the locked jewel event right ahead of us, and crypto shows no short-term signs of recovering at all with all the shit that's been hitting the fans left and right.
Not financial
with the crypto marketplace, not financial advice at all.
But you mentioned the locked jewel unlocking. I mean, the hope would be that there's a fix in place of some kind before that happens, right? They're already talking about it, so it's not, they have still 2-3 months to implement something. I'd like to think that something gets in there. You mentioned fresh powder as far as if a Gen Zero was going to be bought. Just for the 13,000 jewel floor is about $1,600 USD. So, for the listeners, take that how you will. It's a lot of money. It's not a lot of money compared to where it was. Everyone kind of make their own assessment there, but we were seeing these at about 10 grand USD a few months ago. So it's interesting to see how it's fallen.
Yep. Yeah, and it's tough because it's there's only 37 Gen Zeros on the market, which shows, and this is what I've been trying to figure out too, there's 37 Gen Zeros available for sale, which means Gen Zero holders aren't selling right now, which I think is good for the long-term healthiness of Jewel. The fact there's so many available from a liquidity perspective, or so few available from a liquidity perspective, is a good sign for the long-term ecosystem of DFK.
Yeah.
So there you have it. Franz and Guy might buy a Gen Zero. We'll have to change the podcast to was the first non-whale podcast. We'll see, right?
Yeah, it's blurred lines as far as what constitutes a whale right now. We've always had a loose definition of it. What we say are whales, or there are definitely much larger whales that look down on our, what we see whales as. Couldn't get that out of my mouth there.
Words are tough. Words are tough right now.
Yeah, we've been on for a while. Do we want to, before we wrap this up, do we have any interest in a little Fight Club match? Or should we just call it?
Fight Club's a bit of a marathon, but maybe we do our sign-off and maybe just play a Fight Club match and call it bonus content.
Okay, so doing the sign-off first is going to be a big difference for you? All right, let's do it.
This has been an episode of Bogside Chats. We're talking everything DeFi Kingdoms, but keeping it casual. The first non-whale podcast no Gen Zeros, no stable of 100 heroes. Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.